Hello, hello. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas break. Um, Hope you got to spend time in the snow the past couple of days, just having a fun time. And now we're going to get back into the swing of things. Before Christmas break, we were talking about some of the explorers that started going over to the New World over here, what they thought was Asia, but then they started figuring out, hold on, that's not Asia. So we first talked about Columbus. He went from Spain, Portugal area, and he sailed to the Bahamas, thought he had found a shortcut to Asia, died believing what he had landed in was actually Asia. And then you had Cabot, who went from England up to Canada, thought he had found another shortcut to Asia, but then along came Amerigo Vespucci, and he sailed, landed along the coast of South America, and I was like, wait a minute, guys. This is not looking like what Marco Polo described as Asia. I'm pretty sure that we discovered new land and the world is actually bigger than it was. So Vespucci is over here saying, yeah, Columbus Cabot, you're wrong. This is not Asia. So now we're going to start talking about a couple of other explorers after Vespucci. I started exploring this new world, trying to figure out what this new world was and where it was. So if you look on Teams, you can see here in the assignment, we have book pages to read and then notes that we're going to take as we go along. So you can watch the video, take notes as you go, and you can pause it. You can read on your own, take notes compared to what I have for notes, but just making sure you fill out. So to do the notes, you click on the notes. When it pulls up, you're going to click edit so that you can type in there. Edit presentation. I always do edit in browser. As you can see, there's a couple parts that we don't have to fill out. The top half of the notes sheet we filled out a couple of classes ago. Those were the ones about Cabot and Vespucci. And now we're going to talk about Balboa and Magellan. Once this loads, again, I always zoom in on the paper. That way you can see. And so to do that, you click View, or you may have like a little drop-down arrow you have to click to be able to click View. Then click Zoom. Again, I do 100%. You can choose whatever works for you. Click OK. And now I can see a little bit better. So again, this was where we did Cabot and Vespucci, so we do not need to do that again. So we're going to skip down to here. And you can see the text boxes I added in there. If you ever need to add text boxes or accidentally delete these, again, all you do is click Insert, click Text Box. It usually pops up in the middle, so you might have to scroll up. And there's your text box. You just click in there to type. This time I have the text boxes on there for you, so you just click in there and you can type away. You can see right here at the bottom, I crossed out this last line. You do not need to fill that part out. So we have this box here that's going to be for Balboa. Then this box here, that's going to be for Magellan. So we can go ahead and we know that these are going to be Balboa. Typing that in there. And Magellan. Balboa and Magellan. And if you ever feel like you need to move those, just to make it look better, you can click on it, move it up, just make it fit however you would like. So as we read the book pages about Balboa, we are listening to what year he did his exploration and what he did. So we're pulling up here, and it's starting here at reaching the Pacific. Here you can see there's a picture of Balboa. After Vespucci's voyages, other explorers sailed around the mysterious new lands. Not one of them found China. Still, Europeans wondered what these lands could be if they were not a part of Asia. So they're figuring out, wait a minute, this isn't Asia. Okay, then what is it? The Spanish explorer Vasco Núñez de Balboa was one of the first Europeans to settle in the Americas. He had to set up a farm on the island of Hispaniola, but he was not a good farmer. Soon he owed money to many people, but instead of paying them, he escaped from Hispaniola by hiding on a ship bound for what is now Colombia. So Balboa came from Spain, and he sailed to an area called Hispaniola, which is an island down in this area. He started a farm, thought he was going to do great, make lots of money in the new world, but then found out that he actually was not that great of a farmer and ended up owing people a lot of money. And since he owed people money, he could potentially go to jail for that money. He didn't see how he was ever going to be able to pay it back. So he snuck onto a ship that was going to Colombia, which is this country here. He stuck on that ship and sailed to Colombia to run away from the people that he owed money to. So once he got here, we're going to read now about what happened. So after Balboa arrived in Colombia, he met the survivors of a failed Spanish settlement. Later, he helped them take land from Native American groups and start a settlement in what is now the country of Panama. So once he landed here in Colombia, he met a group of Spanish settlers, so other people had come from Spain that had tried to live there but had kind of failed at doing well. They weren't really doing well at all. And so Balboa said, "Hey, I'll come help you. I'll help lead you. Yeah, let's do this." And so they moved to this little piece of land here called Panama. And so they settled here in Panama. Balboa heard about a huge ocean to the west. In 1513, Balboa and other explorers made their way west across the Isthmus of Panama, which connects North America and South America. An isthmus is a narrow strip of land that connects two large land areas. In time, Balboa's group reached the Pacific Ocean. They proved that Amerigo Vespucci was right about an unknown continent. So as he and his group of explorers from Panama, they heard that there was an ocean to the west, so they went to see it. And so they traveled to the west side and they saw the Pacific Ocean. So they figured out Vespucci was right. This is a whole new continent. There's a whole another section of the world. There's new continents. There's more oceans. The world is way bigger than we thought. So if we go over to our note sheet for Balboa, if you go back and find the date, and you're going to type that date in. What is the year that they went and found their way to the Pacific Ocean? So looking in this paragraph and putting that date. Then what he did, we're kind of just going to give a recap of what he did. He was a bad farmer, and then he ran away to Colombia. He started a settlement in Panama, and then he and that group went to the Pacific Ocean. So we're recapping Balboa. You guys found what year. You'll type that in. And then just to recap, he started farming Hispaniola. Really was not good, owed a lot of people money, a lot of money to people. And so he ran away to Colombia, snuck aboard a ship that was going there. Then he started a settlement, with a group that had tried to start a settlement but failed in Panama. And then they heard about the Pacific Ocean. They went to see it, proving that Vespucci was right, that that was not Asia and the world is bigger than it is. So now we get to Magellan. So we're going to go here to the next page. We're just going to scroll down. And here, this is a cool map that shows Columbus, Cabot, Vespucci, Balboa, and Magellan. And it shows their routes. So, here we can see Cabot sailed up to Canada. We can see Columbus sailed down here to the Bahamas. We can see Vespucci, he sailed down here to South America. We can see Balboa. He sailed down to Hispaniola. Then he went down to Colombia and then went to Panama. Now we're going to talk about Magellan. So if we scroll down, a new view of the world. With the aim of finding a western route to Asia. So now they're trying to figure out, okay, how can we get to Asia sailing west? We know there's land here, but there's got to be a way to get to Asia going west. So the Portuguese explorer, Ferdinand Magellan, also proved that Vespucci was right. In 1519, Magellan left Spain with 5 ships and about 250 sailors. They passed through a waterway at the tip of South America. Then the sailors found themselves in the same ocean that Balboa had seen. So they sailed here. They started in Spain. You can see the purple. Magellan is purple. And they sailed south of South America. They sailed around the tip. And they ended up here in the Pacific Ocean. That's that same ocean that Balboa went and saw in Panama. Magellan named it Pacific, which means peaceful. To him, its water seemed calm compared with those of Atlantic. So you have to think about the waters that they had been sailing here. You know, we have a lot of storms. This is where hurricanes build up. And then when they got down here to the Pacific, it was just more peaceful. So he named it the Pacific. Magellan thought he could cross the Pacific in a few days. They had no idea how big the Pacific Ocean was. They had no clue. So he thought it was just going to take a few days to cross it. So he didn't really prepare for a long journey. However, it took more than 3 months. Many sailors died of hunger and illness. Magellan himself was killed in a battle in the Philippine Islands, 500 miles off the coast of southeastern Asia. So they sailed through the Pacific, took 3 months, then they landed in the Philippine Islands, got in a battle there. Magellan died. The ships, lots of sailors died, so they have just one ship left, and it sails all the way back home. One ship finally made it back to Spain in 1522. Its sailors were the first Europeans to travel around the world. So on our note sheet, what did he name? What ocean did Magellan name? So you're going to tell me which ocean. So you're going to type the name of the ocean. Which ocean did he name? He named it because it was peaceful. So which ocean did he name? You're going to type that answer here. And then the sailors on one of those ships, they were the first to travel, the first Europeans to travel around the world. If this ever happens to you, you can always click on the edge and it makes it bigger. And then it could fit all online. So here we have Magellan. You are typing in what ocean he named. He named it because it was peaceful. And then what happened to one of the sailors on his sailors on one of his ships were the first Europeans to travel around the world. So once you have those 2 boxes filled out, you're going to click close. And up here you have a button that says submit or turn it in. You'll click on that and you'll be good to go. If you have any questions, definitely send me a chat here on Teams, send me an email, or send me a message on Remind.